Hey everyone, EtoInteract here, and I just want to thank you for coming back to the remastered version of Session 1. There was a lot of issues that came about when the first Session 1 was uploaded. Some of it was computer error, there was also some human errors on my part, and I wanted to make it right to you guys because it was not up to my standards of what the first Session 1 was, because there were some things overlooked and there were some things that just popped up during the rendering process, and what came out just was not a product that we were very happy with, me especially. So I've taken some time and some liberties to make sure that this time around it didn't happen. So I just want to present to you guys the better version of Session 1. I hope you guys enjoy, and thank you for giving it another listen. Or if it's your first listen, hey, thank you for coming along and giving this better version a listen. Welcome, everybody. I would like to introduce to you a brand new and very unique Power Rangers team. One that has been like none other before it. We have known before in the past that different spiritual protectors have been set in folklore to protect both the forest, humanity, and everything in between. Now it's time for both of those things to come together, unite, and protect humanity for one more time with something that we are calling Power Rangers Spirit Force.
Chills, dude. So
I
great.
have had that written down, and I've been waiting. I've been practicing that.
It was
script.
beautiful. It was beautiful. I
was
loved
waiting for the guitar riff to drop that.
It was beautiful. I love it.
All right, so welcome on into Power Rangers Spirit Force. I am your all-knowing floating head, EtoInteract. Joining us is the voluptuous Purple Ranger on the Red Ranger spectrum, Xenostream 38. And we have the beautiful Blue Ranger, Miles G170, also on the Blue Ranger spectrum. So we have some unique Rangers, but we also have a unique story to go with it, and a unique team, because who here has ever heard of duo Ranger teams before? But can they face the weird magic and spookiness that is lying within the forest right outside of Rogue's Clearing? Only time will tell. So, gentlemen, I'm gonna start decreasing. I can't talk. Miles, what does it mean when the music starts to slowly quiet down? Decrescendo, right? We're gonna decrescendo the music now, folks. So, welcome on in. So we just got done with our session 0 and everything, so hopefully you guys were listening to that. So I'm going to be taking in the reins now as your DM, but I will also have time for both of our players to kind of take over. I can tell, still listening to the music. I'm going to also allow time for our players to take the lead, because let's be honest, this story is not going to be what it is without these two having to take the lead sometimes. I am here just to make sure that the story goes smoothly and that, encounters happen the right way. Alrighty. So it is the day before spring break. We are at RCCC, the Rogues Clearing Community College. The sun's shining, the plants are blooming, and if Miles was in this timeline, he would be coughing and sneezing up a storm and would be barely able to breathe. It is that picturesque of a day. Speaking of which, so inside this building, we have a few students who are sitting around waiting for their Computers 101 class to start. You can see one student sitting at a table outside the desk, double checking her homework. She's looking over it, making sure that everything is just as perfect as it needs to be. But she might have found something interesting on her homework. Devin, I would like for you to make me a computer check.
A computer check? I don't know too much about computers.
Ooh.
You just realized that you accidentally answered a question incorrectly on your homework.
Jesus. Why can't I get this right?
Now, as she is mumbling to herself, double checking her homework, but doing it very studiously, standing over by the wall, just checking his cell phone, seems to be a lone wolf kind of character, just chilling by himself. I would like for you to roll me a science check, please. Actually,
Science.
technology. Roll me a technology check.
Okay. And I'm not using a specialization.
No specialization.
Skill shift, no.
Nope.
And difficulty.
Difficulty, let's make this one a 10.
Okay. And snag.
Nope. No snag, no edge. Perfectly done.
Hey,
You're
let's
playing a
go.
game on your phone, and you just happen to finally beat a difficult level that your character has been stuck on for what feels like weeks now.
Too easy. Too easy, if I'm being honest, right, though? Like, they should make this game harder. Ready for the next level now.
So, as you guys are standing around doing your different things, you finally see a tall, you can kind of tell it used to be muscular, older African American gentleman walking up towards the door and starting to unlock it. He's kind of mumbling to himself as he's trying to get this thing unlocked. He lifts up his hand. He kind of waves to everybody. He's like, oh, okay, I'm sorry, everybody. I'm here. I'm here.
It's been 3 times this week, Mr. Landers.
He must have been stuck in the same level in the game I was playing.
Mr. Landers does a very deep sigh and he's like, guys, I know. I'm sorry. This is on me. I had a few things pop up. He finally gets the door open after going through 2 different sets of keys. All right, everybody, come on in. Let's go over homework. As everybody starts to funnel in, Devin sits at her assigned seat, which happens to be right next to Xander. These two only know each other as desk buddies. Let me go ahead and change our scenery here for us.
Xander, did you remember to do your homework this time?
Actually had something a little bit more important going on.
All right, class, everybody listen up. So Mr. Xander starts to walk down the aisle between all the computers. I just want to remind y'all that this is going to be one of the last homeworks we're going to be doing right before spring break, and y'all can go off and do whatever you want, except for those that have volunteered their time over the spring break. Just remember, today is the last day that I'm accepting permission slip forms, because it's going to be starting tomorrow when we are doing our Save the Forest campaign. He looks around the room, seeing if anybody else is really smiling and excited, but he's noticing that everybody's just kind of staring at him.
Devin is. Devin absolutely
Devin's staring at him excitedly, so he gives Devin a little nod of acknowledgement. All right, Xander, he walks up to you. Do you have your form this time? You keep saying that you do.
I have it, and it's right here. There you go.
Xander pulls out a crumpled form from his pocket. Mr. Landers graciously accepts it, looks it over. All right, well, looks like everything's in check. He brings out a folder that he's been holding in his hand, stuffs in the permission slip. I almost forgot the word I was saying, into it. Now, thankfully, because you guys are old enough, you don't really need parents' permission for this. But just remember, y'all who are turning this in, he walks down and grabs another waiver from another student. This is just a disclaimer that if anything were to happen, it's okay for us to administer any medicine, get an EMT there, and that everything's going to be fine and dandy. We've never had any issues as far as I've been working. He turns around and walks back towards the front, except for one time, but the worst that ever happened was somebody cut their knee really badly, and we just had to wrap it up with a few gauze. He kind of rolls his eyes. Now, back when I used to work EMT, it wasn't that bad of a deal, but thankfully, everything's going to be okay as long as I'm there. He does a little humble brag to see if anybody will chuckle.
Oh, you
He
already
looks
know.
around. He just sees
You know
Devin
Devin
doing
did.
a little pity chuckle, which he can tell, and a few other just kind of nod their head along. All right, folks, let's go over the homework. So we're going to do a little bit of a time skip because we're going to assume everything that's happening right here is happening in the computers class. So now is the end of computers class. Mr. Landers checks his watch as you guys are finishing up how to work an Excel worksheet. Okay, everybody, go ahead and wrap up whatever you're doing, save your progress. We're going to take a look at what you guys have been working on after spring break. The rest of y'all who are going to be meeting with me tomorrow, don't forget, we're going to be meeting in front of our triple C. And then we're going to be dividing ourselves into groups and we're going to go from there. All right, y'all?
Sounds good. We'll see
Okay.
you tomorrow.
All right, y'all. You are dismissed.
Sweet. Back to this next level.
So
Would I
as
be?
you two
Oh.
start to exit, I'm sorry, did you want to say something?
Oh, I was gonna ask if I'd be right in assuming Xander's the first, trying to be the first one out the door.
So, I mean, you can definitely try to. You know what? Why don't you roll me
Well,
a
That's a Xeno decision.
Yeah.
Xeno decision? All right,
Xander,
Xeno.
I'm with it.
not Devin.
So, let's see. If Xander really wants to be the first out the door, why don't you roll me a finesse check to finesse to see if you can get around the people?
Using specialization
Yes, because you do get an extra D2 to it.
and skill shift.
What's his specialization in finesse?
Oh, sharpness, but in general, he still gets a D2 roll on his finesse.
So I would too with mine.
Yes.
Okay, I was making sure. I'm trying to understand the
shift?
system.
Skill shift, nope, no skill shift on this one.
And difficulty.
Difficulty, you know what? Because there's a group of people ahead of you, I'm going to make it a 13.
And edge or snag.
No edge, no snag. You're able to kind of just slip through the people like they're not even there. You don't bump into anyone really, and you're able to just walk right through, pull out your phone, and instantly start playing the next game on your phone.
Excuse me, everybody, but I've got some work to do here.
Devin definitely is chasing after him, yelling for him.
All
Xander!
right, you know what?
Xander!
Huh?
Devin starts barreling through people trying to get Xander's attention. Mr. Landers doesn't really seem to be paying attention, but he follows out after you. However, you both happen to hear a very loud, Mr. Landers! And in comes this young lady who just seems to be a little bit older than both Devin and Xander, with glasses, shoulder length hair that's about a dishwater blonde color, who's holding a bunch of papers in her arms, scrambling up to Mr. Landers. You both happen to overhear a conversation that both of these say as you're going about your day. Mr. Landers, oh, I'm so thankful I caught you. Am I still going to be in charge of the Save the Forest program? Mr. Landers happens to look at her and goes, not the whole program, but you're in charge of a team. What do you mean? And she looks at him with sparks in her eyes. Oh, I've been waiting for this. I've designed a whole entire program. We're going to go through and we're going to like pick up so much trash. And then papers just spill from her arms. And you can just see the absolute disappointment on her face as each page crumbles from her hand onto the floor. Mr. Landers shakes his head, but he gives a little chuckle and goes, I feel like you're always over preparing, Wilma. It's gonna be fine. Oh, but Mr. Landers, if I don't do everything perfect, nothing's gonna be right. And Mr. Landers just puts a hand on her shoulder. Wilma, just don't overthink it this time, okay? You know what happened last time, and let's... And he gets very serious. Let's not do this again. and then Mr. Landers happens to walk off. So you see Wilma just standing there, looking down at her papers, gives a deep sigh, kneels down, and starts picking up her papers.
I want to go help her pick them up. And I'm trying
gonna
to
do the same.
I was going to say, I'm going to try to nudge Xander either way.
All right, so you
But
both
Xander
walk
probably
over.
beats me there.
So this is how I'm picturing it. Tell me if it's right or wrong. Devin, with all of her stuff, perks up, starts to walk over calmly over to Wilma to help her out, kneels down, and starts picking up some papers while Xander kind of just sighs, puts his phone in his pocket, and just kind of strides over.
Mm-hmm.
But still kneels over and picks up papers at his own pace.
Yeah.
Why are you so stressed about this trip? It's going to be fine. We're doing something good. It's going to be good, right?
Yeah, I mean, they haven't had any accidents, except for at one time.
I could have taken care of that if I was there, though. That's what I'm here for. By the way, I'm Devin.
Xander.
Wilma looks up at you guys excitedly. Oh, it's good that I actually meet you two now because I'm going to be your group leader tomorrow. She reaches out her hand to shake your hands. Hi. You might have heard Mr. Landers call me Wilma, but you can all just call me Billy.
Okay. Nice to meet you, Billy.
Hi, Billy.
She shakes your hands and she's just like, I just wanted to make sure that you guys had an extra special positive day because we're going to be camping. We're going to be doing so much fun. Because my first time was, she kind of looks down and kind of has a little face going on.
Did you hurt your knee?
My knee. She looks like she's trying to think of something. Yes. It got slit really bad on a piece of driftwood that I was trying to pick up out of the river.
Press X to doubt. What would we roll for doubt in this?
You know what?
Alertness? Because it wouldn't be...
I'm going to call it alertness. I'm actually looking at the skills on my board.
streetwise. Streetwise might be the option. It'd be one of those two, I think.
I'm going to allow you two to choose. You can roll an alertness to pick up that you can tell, or streetwise for something else.
I'll roll alertness.
I have a D4 to alertness, so I'll do the same.
What's our difficulty?
Your difficult for this one is going to be a 12.
Normal.
Normal. No edges, no shifts.
We wouldn't get specialization, but we would get our D4 at least, or whatever
Correct.
the D has. Okay. All right, cool.
All right, both of you get alertness. You can both tell that she is obviously lying, but you can't really tell what she's lying about.
Devin's gonna
Xander
let it go.
and or Devin, why don't you both roll me another alertness to see if you can see something?
Devin's gonna choose to let it go.
Xander's got to know.
Yeah,
Xander's got to know. Roll me another alertness.
And difficulty?
Because you're alert, I'm going to let you roll with an edge.
Okay. What's our difficulty? 12 again?
Difficulty still a 12.
Didn't let me choose to change it to an edge.
Interesting.
Oh wait, there it is.
It's the very last one. Whew.
So Xander,
A 12 or a 7.
you happen to look over at Devin's knees. She's wearing shorts, so you're able to see her knees, and you do happen to notice what seems to be a lightly faded scar on her right knee. So you do know something happened with her knee, but it seems like she's kind of holding off a little more than she's willing to tell you.
Yeah, that scar there would beg to differ. I don't know, Devin, you have some experience in the medical field.
Oh,
Scar's
yeah.
a little bit rougher than a little bit of driftwood.
I mean, there have been cases where sometimes it gets snagged in there a little bit more. It could have been a little bit more driftwood. It could have had a nail in there. Could I roll to see if I can identify what could make a gnarly Nash like that?
Roll me an EMT specialization. You
So
get
that's
edge
just
on
my
this.
science, right?
Yes.
Okay. And I get my specialization because it's medicine.
Yes.
Okay. And I get DC what?
DC. Oh, you mean difficulty?
Difficulty.
Difficulty. Sorry, I forget that you're talking 5e.
5e.
Still a 12.
Okay. And I get an edge.
Yep. Because you're already alert. Great. You happen to observe, but you and Xander are kind of talking under your breaths to each other. You can tell that this obviously was actually cut by some kind of blade.
Yeah.
You know it's metallic,
Could
but that's
be
all you can really make out.
Could be a really big nail. We also need to start announcing our rolls. I had a 19 plus 3 to get to a 22 because we have audio listeners.
No, yeah.
We have to remember to announce
Sorry,
our
audio
rolls.
listeners.
We're learning. We're learning. If you want to see what we've rolled so far, go check out the video on YouTube. All right,
So,
sorry.
You'll happen to pick up everything for Billy, no longer Wilma, and happen to pass it over to her. Billy lets out a deep sigh, and she's like, I knew I should have put these things in folder, but I was so excited to show Mr. Landers. He kept saying anything I came up with was going to be good, and I was one of his best students last year, but I always got to be Miss Little Perfect, if you know what I mean.
Do you need a folder? And Devin's already in her backpack looking for a spare.
If you don't mind, I would love one.
I'm used to my little brothers and sisters not having what they need, so I normally have extra. Is blue okay?
Blue is perfect. As she accepts it from you. Thank you so much. And she starts putting her papers in there. Now, don't forget, guys, we're going to be here at promptly 9 a.m. tomorrow. And we're going to walk over to the forest because, thankfully enough, it's only about a mile walk from here to the national park we're going to be cleaning up. It's kind of
why I
really
came
neat
here.
yeah. It's a beautiful national park, isn't it? Oh, I love it out there. Last time I was in there, I saw a fox.
Ooh. I actually really like foxes.
That's cool.
Now, me, myself, I prefer snakes. I really like reptiles.
No. Foxes definitely trump snakes.
Don't get me wrong. Foxes are cute, but reptiles just, they do something for me. Anyways, y'all, I'm going to head out, and I'm going to see y'all later, okay? See you tomorrow. And she happens to walk out towards the exits.
Huh.
I forgot what kind of ranger I'm going to be.
You are a snake.
Okay. Oh, I'm going to have to take over for Billy. Okay. Sorry. I couldn't pull
All
it
right,
up
is
because
there-
it'd mess up the recording.
Any conversations you two would like to have with each other to establish anything before we do another time skip for tomorrow?
Sure.
I did for sure. Xander, why are you going on this? Do you really care?
It reminds me of home. Strangely enough.
Where's home? I thought you were from near here. Most people don't go out of their way to come here. I mean, it's just Rogue City or Rogue Clearing.
It's a long story. Place I'm from is called Grove Angel, so I mean it kind of reminds me the forest and stuff, you know. It's silly. It's
Angel.
okay.
I've never heard of Grove Angel.
Yeah, it's most people haven't. It's not from around here. We traveled a good distance, but anyways, I gotta get back to this level because it's not gonna beat itself.
Oh, okay.
But see you tomorrow, though.
Bye.
So you two happen to depart in separate ways. Devin, because you are your A-type personality, you happen to open back up your folders to check for your next class that you have right after this. And Xander, you happen to walk out and go back onto your merry way. time skip to the next morning. You both arrive promptly a little bit before 9 o'clock. You see pretty small groups having to line up in, well, not really line up, but in a circle around Mr. Landers. And you also see Billy there, who has her blue folder marked Fun Times with big Sharpie on the front now. And she's looking through her papers one last time, also bugging Mr. Landers. Mr. Landers in a nice, vibrant red shirt and vibrant blue jeans to go along with it, happens to be looking very dapper today. And Billy in her bright, almost aqua blue shirt and shorts, just like last time. And as you guys start to approach the circle, you happen to see Billy look over at you guys, wave, and join you in front of the circle that's surrounding Mr. Landers. Oh, guys, I'm so glad that you're here and you made it before Mr. Landers started his speech. Last year, Mr. Landers got a little wordy with the speech. He started talking about his time on the police force and how the environment was a big thing to say because it wasn't really much of a thing when he was on the force, whatever that means. She happens to try to let out a little snort of a chuckle.
I got a quick note for you guys. So a lot of y'all caught him earlier saying that he had a former EMT experience. I can tell you with my dad in particular, a lot of police started in the 60s, 70s, even 80s with EMT experience before they moved into the police force. So those of you guys that were confused by that, that's part of the reason.
In all fairness, I did a little bit of research, and it is very true that a lot of police used to have EMT training, and Mr. Landers is going to be following that. So Billy's like, come on, guys, let's get into the circle, and then I'm going to tell you everything we're going to do. I have our whole weekend planned out for us.
Sounds good. I'm excited. I'm excited.
I just have a feeling Xander's like on his phone, like, yeah, sounds cool.
Yeah, I understand what he says about the environment. I mean, back home it was a big thing, and it can cause a lot of damage.
Back home at Grove Angel, yeah.
Yeah, Grove Angel.
Billy looks a little confused. Grove Angel? That's
we better get in the group.
So as you guys get into the group and you're talking with Billy about all the different exciting things she has for you, Mr. Landers does that teacher thing where he raises his hand up into a fist, puts his finger over his lips to have everybody start hushing. Everybody in the crowd starts to murmur down to a whisper to being absolutely quiet. Mr. Landers goes, all right, I just want to thank everybody for coming out today. I was reminded by one of my former students that last year's speech got a little wordy, so I'm going to try to keep things a little short and sweet today because, in all honesty, I prefer things short and sweet. He starts to look around the half circle that's in front of him. Now, I just want to remind everybody that this is supposed to be a good time, but this is also supposed to be a productive time. The forest is something that's near and dear to me, and it's near and dear to this community as well. So we want to try to make sure that we're always cleaning up after ourselves because other people here apparently refuse to clean up after themselves. He starts to, you notice he's starting to get a little stern here. So our number one priority we want to do is to make sure that we are protecting this forest. You would not believe how many hikers go through here just tossing their garbage. And then the next thing you know, you got like a coyote or something that's choking on a Lunchables. He sees a few people that are chuckling to that, but you can see a few people who are imagining that and feel a little sad for imagining a choking coyote. He happens to keep swaying his hips while talking, looking back and forth between the half circle in front of him. But now, just remember, we're going to be camping out here. So we have a few amenities provided for each group. We do have basically what I'm calling the command center. which is going to be where we're keeping our main cabin. Y'all will be sleeping in tents. We're going to be giving you trash bags as collectibles, but don't forget, this is also your time to experience the forest in nature. We're going to at least have an hour or two to make sure that we're cleaning up. The rest of the time is yours to hike, experience nature, fish, whatever you need to do to reconnect and save this forest. He points off about a mile down the road to where you can see the entrance of the state park that our Triple C is next to. Now, before we start to head down, do I have any questions on what to expect this weekend? Yes, you there in the red shirt.
Am I supposed to bring a tent?
Tents were something you were supposed to bring, Xander. They were on the permission slip, but thankfully for you, and he points over to Billy in her blue shirt, I'm assuming you have extras. I'm going to take your silence as a yes.
You said Billy.
Oh, I don't know why I'm doing that. I think it's because I have color-coded notes in front of me.
Yeah.
He points over to Devin. I'm assuming you have extras, don't you?
I had a feeling Xander would forget to bring one.
And Billy raises her hand excitedly. And I have extra blankets.
I just, I thought we were doing the outside thing and we were going to build our shelter. That's all.
We're going to be there for a weekend, Xander. By the time you finish building a shelter, we're going home.
I'll show you how to get it done quick.
Mr. Landers kind of rolls his eyes from where he's standing. All right. I mean, if you guys really want to build your own shelters, you're more than welcome to. Now, hopefully you guys are ready for a little bit of a walk. It's about a mile to the front entrance of this, but it's not too far until our command center. All right, y'all, follow me. Mr. Landers starts to take charge and starts to walk. You see people start to form into their groups behind him, talking to their groups and their group leader. Billy happens to be walking backwards, and she seems to have a really high jump in her step, a little pep going on. And she's like, oh, guys, are you ready for this? Now, when we get in, we do have to do some cleaning, but you know what? That doesn't mean we can't have a little fun hike and see what's out there in the forest. Oh, last time I was in the forest, I found this really cool rock, and she seems to have to stop herself there. And yeah, it was a cool rock, and I left it there. And she turns around and her whole demeanor seems to have drastically changed.
Devin was panicking the whole time she was walking backwards.
Xander's just watching.
Yeah. Devin kind of looks when she turns around at Xander.
For our
She's in her
audio
element.
listeners, these two are shrugging at each other.
She's in her element. Just let her go.
But
she's
that
on a
was
roll.
weird, right? No, she's not. She was, but now she's not. That was weird. What happened? Billy, did we upset you?
She seems to perk back up into reality. Oh, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. And she happens to smile at both of y'all, gives a thumbs up, and she's like, everything's okay. But you can kind of tell she's a little bit lying through her teeth as if there's, again, something she's not 100% telling you guys.
Are we going to get murdered?
He's a nice guy act. Might be a cover for something.
Is she going to kill us? Should we?
Maybe
Devin starts laughing.
Just from underneath.
Devin just starts laughing and goes on with her day.
You see Billy is going through her folder and she pulls out what looks to be 2 folded maps. Before I forget, you guys definitely want this. I went ahead yesterday and got us some maps just in case we get lost. You two know your cartographies, right? Because there's like really bad cell service in this forest.
I'm okay at it. Not the best, but I'm definitely not the worst. I'm guessing that'd go off our survival checks.
Yep. So I want you both to look at your maps with a survival check to see if you fully understand the map.
DC
I have
or
an
difficulty
edge for survival or survivor, right?
Let me take. So you get an extra D2 to your survival rolls.
If you have like something written underneath, that's where we get our edge from. Like, you probably have one like under finesse. You see where it says sharp weaponry.
Yeah.
That's your edge.
Yeah, you would get an edge with that, and you would get an edge with martial arts.
I just noticed I have as my influences, I have survivor, and it says edge on survival.
Well, there it is. Yeah.
Then yes, you do. So you get all. Yep. Edge on survival or related checks when smarts lowered to 0. Rolla will. So yep, you gain edge on survival check.
So specialization still no?
No, because you don't have any specialization for survival.
Difficulty?
Difficulty, this one, since it's just the map, I'm going to give it a 7.
7.
Okay. And no edge, no snag. Oh, he has edge. I don't have.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, rolling
a 20.
I rolled an 11.
So you're both able to look at your maps. As Devin's looking through, she's pulling out a pen. She clicks down, and she's able to make some quick notes for herself, especially about the legend and where to find certain things. And Xander just happens to glance through, and he just gives a little nod as if he just fully understands by just taking one glance at it.
Back home, we made our own maps and stuff like that, so I'm pretty used to this. This is actually really easy to understand.
Can you show me how to do that sometime?
Yeah, absolutely. It's easy.
Xander, you're really interesting. I want to get to know you better.
It's not much to know.
You just memorized a map by taking a glance at it.
Yeah, but anyone can do that.
As you guys start to approach the command center, as Mr. Lanston has put it, he starts to hold up his hands to try to get everybody's attentions again. He's like, okay, so just to let every group know, I've already talked to every single group leader. Every group leader is going to be taking charge from here on out. If anything, and I mean anything, were to happen, please come back here pronto and get a hold of me or one of my other affiliates. We have staff here that are medically trained and ready to go if anything were to happen. Now, every group is doing something a little bit different, but as a reminder, 1 to 2 hours today have to be dedicated to cleaning up. So please come to me or one of these people here with green bags and collect a green bag. Once you fill a green bag with any trash or debris, you're going to bring it back here to the command center and dump it off into one of these bins. You see over by some of the cabins that some bins, large bins, have been dropped off in order to collect some of the trash. And on the side, it happens to say Rogue City Recycling on it. And Billy turns around. She was like, last time I was here, he had 2 less bins, and one of these bins was overflowing with garbage. I can't believe the stuff people just throw away in the forest.
Yeah. I mean, there was one time when I was younger, and this is a real Miles story that he's put in his character. One time when I was younger, we were cleaning along the river, and I spent hours on this one hill just cleaning up bits of styrofoam that people had just ripped up and thrown. And I don't understand what's wrong with people. Hashtag be better.
Billy just lets out a little sigh, and she was like, I completely understand what you mean. Last time I filled up 6 of these green bags, and that was just from the river that I was cleaning stuff out of. I don't get how people can be so gross. She looks down a hiking pathway. She was like, oh, by the way, guys, we're going to be going to campsite B. I had to look at what I wrote down. I wrote down a specific letter and I was trying to memorize it. All right, so why don't we take this time for whoever our editor for this episode is to do any sort of plugs. You can find Zeno and I over at a Not Safe for Work podcast.
Not safe for anything podcast.
No. we're not going to say too much about it because it's definitely not a Joysticks United kind of thing. But check out ADHD After Dark, available wherever you get your podcasts from. And not only does it have Zeno and myself, but it also has the very funny Coder Coco, and the doesn't really do any other content other than this podcast, Merc Daddy.
Yeah, it's very much an After Dark podcast in the truest essence of it.
So it's one of those podcasts where we just say whatever's on our mind. Also, for this commercialized segment, we also have Miles G170, who is creating content. Miles, why don't you use this time to fill in what you've been creating?
So I make content for YouTube, which most of y'all have seen. I stream Mario Maker, Stardew Valley, Minecraft. I just did 3 full games in the past weekend. I did Super Mario Land 3, or Super Mario Land 2. Yeah, Super Mario Land 2. Mega Man X4, and the Final Fantasy 3. So I do all that. But I also make content for Cadoodle, which of course this is flipped, but I'll fix it later. All of my content is family friendly, child friendly, something you can watch with your family, something you can use as background noise. My current passion project would be my Pokemon series. And I am doing something called the Pokemon Academy, where I'm going through all the generations of Pokemon, just using bug-type Pokemon only, and teaching you all other aspects of the game as we go, such as how different mechanics work in Generation 3 as opposed to other generations, and how to make these bug Pokemon good. So yeah, and you guys can find me, search up Miles G170 on YouTube, Cadoodle. I'm over on that Twitter machine. I sometimes post on Instagram, sometimes post on TikTok, but for the most part, you'll find me on YouTube and Cadoodle.
Zeno, is there anything you would like to plug for yourself?
I don't believe so, other than just the ADHD After Dark podcast, as well as Joysticks here. That is really the only content I'm creating right now, kind of taking a step back from streaming and stuff, kind of reevaluating what I want to do. I'm sure there will be new stuff coming, but nothing that is worth announcing quite yet. We'll see how the future goes.
Now, I'm kind of in the same boat as Zeno, but I would like to announce one project that is literally about 6 years in the making, because it's something I wanted to do for a long time, but have only now decided to get off my dead butt and do something about it. We're going to be starting a new tabletop role-playing channel. By we, I mean myself. It's the royal we. And it's called Does a Podcast Hit? It's where I decide to go through and play lesser known, forgotten about, and indie styled tabletop role-playing games that you might be overlooking. So we're going to be trying out something different. Some episodes may be a little part of a series where it's up to 1 to 4 different episodes, depending on how it's being edited. But just stop on by, try out something new, and I can tell you where to get it and for how much. So I don't have an official release date yet, but just keep posted by listening to the Joysticks, where I will be announcing it on a future episode. Okay, so transitioning to our promos, back over to gameplay. So we now have Devin, Xander, and Billy starting to walk down a path. And as you guys are walking down to Campground B, Billy's pointing out different things about all the last things she saw the last time she was here doing the Save the Forest program. And she points over across a little bit of a clearing. She's like, "Oh, that's where I saw the fox last time. Oh, it was so tiny and so cute." Like, honestly, foxes are smaller than I really thought they would be.
They're very cute, very majestic creatures. I just like they're always doing their own thing and just kind of like living life. I'm so jealous of it.
Oh, and you would not believe the different animals you can find here in the forest. Last time I was camping out, there was also an owl. Oh, the thing was loud, though, and I barely got any sleep because it just wouldn't stop hooing all over the place.
I don't think I've ever seen an owl.
Oh, well, she kind of tilts her head to think. Now that I think about it, since we probably live out near the city area, they don't really come out there that often. They're probably just used to this national park that we have here. And she kind of just gives a little shrug. If you think about it, a lot of animals do require this kind of safe space for themselves because humans keep taking their spaces. We keep growing, and their spaces just keep shrinking because of it. And as she's kind of giving you this little bit of a spiel, out in the distance, you start to see a little bit of a clearing, campground B. You see a few ledges and a few like hills going up and down, but for the most part, right out in the middle between a few trees and a big rock, you happen to see right where you're going to be setting up camp. And just so you guys can see, I'm going to be putting your tokens around where campground B is, just so you can get an idea. So for our audio listeners, it's literally around the middle of the map.
That's Billy.
Yep, that is Billy. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I just searched up nerdy girl with glasses and had to look through so many different stock photos
What's funny
until I
is
found one I liked.
it's eerily similar to how I pictured Billy to look like.
It's pretty similar.
Like I said, I tried describing her the best I could, and boom, there she is.
Boom, there she is. Boom, there she is.
Billy claps her hands together and she's like, "All right, freshman." Ooh, that makes me sound like I'm so much older. I'm just a sophomore. All right, guys. So she starts to do this little excited handshake. First thing we're going to do is we're going to set up camp. And before we do our hour of cleanup, we're going to do a little hike to get familiar with the area because we don't want any accidents. And she kind of just does like a little relieved sigh saying that. She's like, "You guys do not know how much I've had to practice saying stuff to you guys in front of the mirror because my cat doesn't want to listen to me."
I just noticed that I missed some points that I didn't put in last time.
Oh, no worries. Go ahead and fix whatever you need to fix. So what I would like for you guys to do is roll me a survival check to see how well you're able to put up your own tents.
So what I was looking at was the curious origin that I have.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm supposed to have alertness, culture, technology, and deception, persuasion, streetwise. I don't think I added those because I didn't have all of those set. The other thing is if you already have that, you add a specialization. So I think I'm able to specialize in a bunch of those.
So we'll know that definitely for the next time we have to roll for those.
Well, and I'm wondering if that's how it is because I think it is because you told me to pick from a list of skills, not all of them. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
So I think that I just messed up on that.
No worries.
Okay, so when I put the thing for that on my list, I'm just putting curious as my reason for specialization. So I didn't have deception to begin with, but I believe I did have the rest.
Okay.
So I'm getting my specialization and the other stuff.
So it looks like Zeno or Xander has rolled a 20.
No, I hadn't rolled yet.
Oh, you hadn't.
14,
Oh,
no.
I'm looking at your last survival. Oh, you rolled a 14.
Yes.
And I'm rolling what?
So you need to roll a survival.
Okay.
No edge, no snag, just a normal roll.
Okay.
Billy has rolled a 12. This is to see how well you guys are pitching your tents.
Got it. I rolled an 11. I rolled a 9 plus 2.
All right, so all successful. You're able to pass the 10 difficulty scale. Zeno also asked why you're talking with Kim. If I happen to forget difficulty, just ask for difficulty.
Yep, I heard, yeah.
Because, yeah, this is, again, folks, something a little bit different than 5e, so I'm just getting familiar with how it's set up. So, you all are able to put up your tents on your own. Congratulations. So as you're putting things up and everything's set and ready to go, Billy again turns to you all and goes, okay, guys. So before we start to clean up anything, we're just going to leave our bags here for now. And we're going to take a little hike around before things start to get a little too late in the day. So I figured we can just take an hour, walk around, get familiar with our settings. Then we can go around, we can clean up, and then we can do an adventure walk where we check out the different lakes. And she starts to ramble off all these different activities she's just really jam packing into a day.
Billy. According to the camper safety book, we need to like hang our stuff from the trees and stuff. There's a lot of safety stuff we haven't done yet.
You definitely don't want any animals trying to get into our stuff. Make for a long weekend.
And
He's
Billy
so done
just
with
does
us.
her little shake of like, oh no, did I forget things again? She picks up her blue folder and she starts to scramble through things. Oh, I knew I forgot something.
You don't have your safety book. It's okay. I got mine. It's okay.
She does a defeated sign. She's like, if you were to put a computer in front of me, I could tell you anything. But you put me in front of Mother Nature. She spreads her arms out to point at everything around her. Then I'm just a big old mess.
It's okay. We're a team. We work together. You don't have to do everything yourself. You have us. Even though you're the leader, you can delegate down and let us handle stuff. Xander's got skills. I mean, Xander looked at the map and memorized it. That's not normal. I have my safety book. I have some basic knowledge of camping. I used to go with my dad before, but yeah, I have some. We have skills we can help you with, Billy. You don't have to do it all by yourself.
Yeah, we're gonna cause more problems if we stress ourselves out about it.
She does a relief sigh and she's like, I am so thankful that you guys are so understanding. So what I would like for you guys to do is to roll me another survival check in order to find some trees to put up your stuff up high so that way animals don't get into it.
Difficulty
For this one, we're going to make it a 12.
Not good. I rolled a 4.
So, Devin, as you find a tree that you think is just perfect, you try to hook up your backpack onto the tree, but as you let go of the limb, it snaps and your stuff comes back down to the ground. Xander, though, in a tree not too far off, sees that you're kind of struggling, shrugs, and is able to put up his backpack pretty high up on the ground on a nice, sturdy limb.
Can I help you with yours, Devin?
Please, I'm a little too short for some of these branches.
Yeah. No problem at all. We'll get you fixed up.
Go ahead and roll me another survival check.
Can I assist in any way? I don't know if assist is a thing in this.
Yes. So actually, roll me an edge. Actually, you already have an edge on yours. Why don't you shift up in dice value because you're getting helped?
Me?
Yep, you're going to shift up.
I'm trying to help you as best I can.
So you're getting support with Devin, so you're shifting up.
Shift.
I would say just...
Let me take a look at how the shifting
you can add a
works.
D4, D6, D8, D10, 12, 2D8, 3D8. So you can add a D4 to it, essentially as a +1.
Yep.
Add a D4?
Yep.
Okay.
I think that's how that works.
So the way I'm looking at it does. All right.
Rolled a 13.
Ooh, we needed that.
So Devin happens to spot a tree for you and points at a nice sturdy branch that looks like it's just within your wingspan to put her backpack up. You're able to reach up and put it comfortably within a reaching distance for you, but out of the reach of possibly some small creatures that would try to get inside of it.
Just another day's work.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I hate not being able to reach stuff.
But you gotta have friends, right?
Exactly. We're a team.
I need you both to roll me an alertness check with a difficulty of 16.
All right. Now, my curious nature did give me specialization in that.
Correct.
Okay. So I don't roll with edge, but I roll with the specialization, correct?
Correct.
Okay, I want to make sure. Sorry, guys.
Actually, if
Oh!
memory serves...
Oh, Zeno!
I am not very alert at all. I rolled a 1.
That's a fumble.
So, Xander is able to hear something happen to move not too far off in the distance, but to him, it just sounded like pigeons cooing and flying away. Devin, however, hears noise that doesn't really quite sound like animals to her and sees weird colors in the forest starting to shift and run away.
Did you see that?
I heard like a bird or something.
No, there. I must have imagined it. Where's Billy?
Billy happens to walk back over and she's like, okay, guys. I looked back over our starter or camp starter and it looks like we have everything set. Looks like the next thing we should probably do before we go out on a hike or we start collecting trash, get a little bit familiar with the area. And as we do so, let's try to find any dry branches and any kindling stuff that we can for a nice fire tonight. And don't worry, Xander, you look like a guy that really likes to eat. So I made sure to grab an extra cooler with some extra hot dogs in it just for you.
I love hot dogs. Simple.
Bet I can eat
Great
more than
fun.
you.
Not a chance.
I bet I can eat more.
I guess we'll settle that debate.
Billy happens to smile. She's like, okay, guys. So why don't you follow me? And she turns and she just happens to stare down this one hiking path that really seems to get her attention. She stands still, and it doesn't seem like she blinks or anything as she's really contemplating this one path.
You okay,
Is that
Billy?
Is that the same area where I saw the the dancing lights, essentially?
It's where you start to see the random colors start to head in that direction.
I think we should go that way. There's something.
Billy snaps out of it.
There's something over there.
Go down that way, but there's nothing special down that way.
I disagree. I
Yeah,
think that's
looking
where
at
we're
the
supposed to
map,
go.
Yeah, it looks like there's a creek over there, and probably a good place to see a fox, so I'm in.
The moment you say creek, the color out of Billy's face starts to flush just a little bit, and she's like, if you guys really want to, there's a lot of trash there, so I don't see why not. And you can tell she's really starting to force a positive attitude out of herself.
Is that where you got hurt last time?
She looks a little distant and she goes, yeah, that's where I cut my knee, and there was just a lot of blood and a lot of confusion. She says with like a faint smile.
Were you distracted by the lights?
The lights? She looks at you very confused.
Over there, just a minute ago, Xander was looking for a bird, I think, but I saw just different colors. I think we need to go down that way.
She kind of shrugs and she's like, well, if you really think we need to go down that way, then why don't we go ahead and go together and check things out? Who knows? Maybe we can find the birds that Xander was looking for.
So, running joke back in one of Matt Man's campaigns was I couldn't roll an insight check or a perception check to save my life. Literally, my character was always looking at the sky looking for birds.
So, Your group happens to start to walk down this path, and you stumble upon the creek that was on the map that Xander pointed out. And Billy just happens to be entranced on one spot in particular. Though, to you both, it just looks like a normal spot next to the creek.
You don't have to go over there, Billy. It's okay. We can check this out. And I'm going to start moving towards it.
Yeah, I mean, we can just clean this up ourselves. I mean, no need to really pile on it.
Billy just shakes her head and she's like, no, it's not that. She lets out a defeated sigh. You guys wouldn't believe me even if I told you so.
I mean, I'm in for a good story.
If nothing else, it'll be a good campfire story tonight.
Billy shakes her head and she's like, you know what? Let's save it for the campfire, guys. Why don't we get familiar with the area and why don't we do some cleanup while we're at it?
Sounds like a plan.
So we're going to do a little bit of a time skip, but just to see how well you guys did with cleaning up, I need you guys to give me let's go with just double checking here on what would be good. Why don't you give me a performance check?
Difficulty,
because it's just regular manual labor, I'm going to make it an 8.
I have a D2 next to mine. Does that mean I add a D2?
Yes, you would add the D2 to
you don't shift it, though. It's just automatically added for you.
Yep. Oh, okay.
It's where that skill option comes in. Now, I have an auto snag in performance.
What was the difficulty?
It is an 8.
Yep. I automatically have a snag because I'm not proficient in that ability. So, yeah, I'm rolling with snag.
Xander, you do just fine cleaning things up. Devin, you've had a few fumbles where you keep tripping over stuff and you would spill your bag several times. But ultimately, Billy and Xander were there to help pick things up with you, so it wasn't a complete fail.
Wish people really cared about the environment. They would if they were without it, you know?
I mean, we care about it. It's just, you have, 100 companies contributing 70% of the pollution to the world. So, I mean, all we can do is clean up what we can. It's just really frustrating that they put all this personal responsibility on us, yet there's all these companies out there just doing what they want to do.
Yeah.
It's not right.
And Billy hears you guys talking about this, and she's like, and it's definitely not fair. And they always try to tell us it's up to us to keep things clean, but if you think about it, this is all we really can do, and it just sometimes feels like it's way out of even our hands.
It's just a Band-Aid.
We do what we can, and it makes Mr. Lanston feel better about himself, too, that he's getting us to go out and having all these times outside while we're still young, he says. So, a little bit of a time skip here. You guys, again, go off to the command center. You're able to dump off your garbage bags. You don't happen to see Mr. Lanston, but you see a few of the other affiliates there on stand who happen to give you guys a wave as you walk into the command center and then make your way back to Campground B. At this time, the sun has just started to set. You're starting to see some stars in the sky, and I would like you, Xander, to roll me a survival check to see if he can get this fire started.
Xander started the fire.
A 5.
It was always burning. Ooh.
19.
All right. You are able to put the wood together that you guys have collected, get your Kindle. You're able to get out a lighter, light that bad boy right up without any problems.
Yeah.
So the fire gets started. Billy brings out the hot dogs and passes you guys some metal poles to put the wieners on and roast them as you guys start to talk about how you guys know each other, where you came to be. And Billy happens to look over her hot dogs and goes, I've always kind of just grown up here in Rogue's Clearing. Never really left. Never really went anywhere. Of course, like vacations and stuff, but this is really the place that I've always just known. What about you, Devin? Are you from around here?
Yes, I am. I am. I grew up. We are saying this is the small town roots for me, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure I didn't move here. Yeah, I've grown up here. I've always wanted to go explore bigger areas, but I've been responsible for my siblings for so long that I just don't think I could go anywhere. I think I have to stay here. This is where I need to be.
Billy kind of nods and she's like, I understand. I have a cousin that lives close by that's kind of always been a younger brother to me. He's on the spectrum. And sometimes you just gotta be that responsible one in their life. So I get that. What about you, Xander? What brought you here? Because you said you were from some
Grove
angel
Angel.
place? Grove Angel.
Yeah, that's where my parents are from. And back home, it was just us for the most part, and a few community members, I guess you'd call it. I came here because my parents wanted me to kind of have a better life, I guess. Back home, it's a lot different. But I've enjoyed my time here, and it's very homey, and there's no danger, so it's quite nice. Different from what I'm used to, I guess. I'm used to being out in the wilderness and surviving because it was what we had to do. But my parents didn't want that for me anymore, so they sent me here, and I've been here for a while now.
Billy kind of nods and she's like, well, you know what? Good on your parents for knowing what was best for you. Because most people don't even get that.
We got to address a burning question here for our podcast listeners. We need to address the hot dog eating contest.
All right, you know what? I am going to need you two to roll me might checks.
Oh, I'm screwed. I was hoping to get conditioning. Because competitive eating is absolutely a conditioned sport.
Well, conditioning just gets added to your health.
That's upsetting. Well, I don't know why there's a roll for it then.
Let me double check the manual on conditioning.
What's the difficulty?
It's going to be a 15.
Hold on, I'm making an argument so I can actually do something.
All right, let's take a look here.
Physical harm or damage for each skill. I guess it helps with that, but it has a roll as well. It doesn't have specializations, but I do have a D4 in it.
Here we go, conditioning. How much additional physical harm or damage a creature can suffer before becoming defeated?
I feel like that applies to a bursting stomach.
Maybe.
You know what? I'll take it. You can roll a conditioning roll.
Is yours better too, Zeno? Your conditioning?
No.
Okay. I was going to try to give you whichever one was better too. DC what? Difficulty of what?
DC is 15. Right now, Xander is a hard one to beat.
Alright, you ready for this natural 20? First one of the game. I'm going to roll a 1.
So right now, Zeno has...
Oh! That's a 22!
It's a 21 versus a 22. You both happen to shove in what seems like an endless amount of hot dogs. But the moment Xander feels like his gut's about to burst, he stops. Right now, Devin and Xander are tied, and in comes Devin with one more hot dog to shove down her gullet. And she does it. She goes all the way.
Oh, that's insane that we both rolled a 19. You just had a worse roll on your might. You had a D8 and you rolled a 2.
Yeah.
What the heck?
For real. I've
Oh,
never eaten so many hot dogs.
really? This is like the third time I've done this.
Ugh,
You need to get out more.
I guess so.
Devin absolutely is lying. She feels horrible right now. That last dog did not want to go down.
So Billy kind of is just laughing to herself. And then as she thinks you guys aren't looking, she actually roll me an alertness check, both of you.
I get specialization now. Difficulty?
Difficulty, because it's nighttime, we're going to give it a 13.
How often do we get
All right.
our idea points back?
It's during a rest.
Where do I see my idea points? Listed on the table above. I don't have the table. Let me pull that up. I have to pull up Eureka. Hold on.
No problem.
Because I know we're about... So, we have a bunch of different powers, you all. And we haven't used them yet. So I kind of wanted to show one off while we had a chance. And one of them, I have something called Eureka, which lets me kind of force an edge on this if I want. Let me see how many I have. I have one, and we get it back after a rest. So I'm going to go ahead and use mine here to give myself an edge.
All right. So you both notice what doesn't appear to be quite a cell phone being pulled out of Billy's shorts pocket. And as she kind of looks at it, you happen to notice just the top two letters that happen to be on top of this thing that say SP before she kind of slides it back into her pocket.
That was
okay
a
there,
weird
Billy?
looking... Was that like a... I've heard of these. Was that like a pager?
Billy
Is
just...
that what it's called?
I was kind of hoping it was a cell phone with a better signal so I could play my game.
You have been doing so good today, Xander. You've been doing so good.
Billy looks up nervous that she was just calling. She was like, oh, this is something Mr. Lanston gave me last year for something special that he asked me not to talk about.
Are you dating Mr. Langston?
No. She hurriedly pulls out what seems, and now you can fully read SPD on the cover of it. It's just a device he gave me for something I found last year. And you guys aren't going to believe me because Mr. Lanston was the only one who believed me.
Is
this our campfire story?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know we were going to have props.
All right.
So Billy's like, okay, you're not going to believe me, but well, he said in case of emergency. I guess this is an emergency. She kind of looks back and forth to make sure that nobody else is looking. Okay. She holds out the device in front of her, and you see her push down the button. Next thing you see, blue flash of light. And in front of you stands a bright, almost electrifying blue-colored ranger with a snake design on a helmet. And she happens to do just like a little bit of a move as she appears out from the flashing light. She's like, apparently...
Oh my god, Billy's a magician!
Yeah. Magician.
That's so cool! How did you do that? That was so... What was the pose? Is that your signature pose?
It's I don't know. It's weird. It's like after you get out of this thing, you just kind of do a pose. she happens to hit a button on her side where the morpher was, and back is regular Billy. Mr. Lanston told me I can only do that on special occasions because apparently it's something called a ranger. Funny enough, found it in the park, right? But it's not a park ranger. You said it's something called a Power Ranger, and only special people will ever get the call. Last time when I was down here, my group leader kind of left me behind, and I was cleaning out the creek by myself, and next thing I know, I found, and she clicks open the SPD morpher and pulls out this shiny crystal that you can see glimmering in the firelight. This crystal. And I just happened to hold it up in the sunlight just right, and I noticed inside there was like this outline of a snake. It almost seemed like it was real, like it was living inside of this. And next thing I know, I was wearing that blue costume that I showed you guys. And I freaked out and I ran. I could run so fast. And like any bush that I came across like disintegrated in my path as I was going through it, and I was so scared. And finally I got out of the costume by the time I got up to the command center, and I was trying to tell any of the people there, and nobody would listen to me. They thought I was craving attention or something, but Mr. Lanston was the only adult who took me seriously. He pulled me to the side and explained that I was chosen to be something called a Power Ranger, and he said that it now wasn't a good thing like it used to be. He said that I had to be very, very careful when I became one because they were being hunted, whatever these rangers were. I don't know what that meant, but he said if anything super out of the ordinary happened, to put my crystal into this device, and that suddenly I would become one of these Power Rangers and be able to defend myself. But he always told me to never really fight back, to use it to run.
They have rangers here too.
Are you all messing with me? Like, no, really. What's going on? Like, how dumb do you think I am? There's no way this is real. And you, Xander, you act like you know. You've been here for a minute. How do you know? What? No.
Roll me an alertness check.
I saw it in like a movie once. Like
Two.
All of you.
What's that?
Roll me an alert check.
Alert.
Difficulty.
Difficulty 15.
Edge or snag?
None.
Glad you got that.
All right, so that means Devin is going to be getting a snag on their next roll, while Xander will be getting an edge on his. Xander is able to hear that weird cooing sound that he did last time, but this time it sounds all too familiar. I need you guys to roll me an initiative. Xander, you get edge on your initiative. Devin, you get snag. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with our turn order of Zeno, then Billy. Our putties were at 3 and 10. Then our putties. Let me update that. There we go. Okay, so Xander, Billy, both putty patrollers, and Devin. So Devin, you are caught off guard currently. However, out from the bushes emerge two unique looking putty patrollers. One that seems to be covered in all yellow, and another that seems to be covered in all green.
What?
And as
what
they're
are
coming
those?
out, Devin and Xander happen to step up as if they know exactly what they're dealing with.
Billy.
And she's like, those are the things that came after me last time I transformed.
Can't believe these guys are here.
What
You
is
know
going
anything?
on?
I'll explain later. We definitely got to fight these guys off.
With what?
Devin looks over to you and she goes, Mr. Lanson said if we see these, we run. So what I would like for you guys to do is I need you to roll me I need a finesse check to see how well you guys can run away from these.
Specialization or no?
Let's see. No edge, no snags. And since you're running together, I'll let you guys shift up 1.
All right. What about our specializations?
Do you have any specializations for...
We have
I have
sharp.
sharp.
Yeah, we had sharp, but you had us use it earlier for when we were pushing out of the crowd.
No specialization for this one.
Okay. That's what I wanted to make sure of. And we're shifting up to a D4.
Yep.
Difficulty?
Difficulty, we're going to make this one, since we're running at night, a 13. All right. Oh,
We need to know what, if we're doing a skills challenge, I guess we got to know Billy now. I rolled a 15, a 12 plus 3.
I rolled an 8. 6 plus 2. I'm
All
assuming Xander's kind of frightened the sight of him.
I would imagine Xander's probably trying to defend Devin, too.
16.
Since Devin doesn't know what these are, the only one of the 3.
17.
He seems kind of
So-
protective.
As you guys are running, these weird putty creatures seem to only be stammering towards you, not quite seem to be going in for the attack, but as Xander trips, he happens to find an opening in the ground and stumbles down inside of it. As he stumbles down and he finally hits his landing, in front of him is a shining purple crystal that looked eerily similar to the blue one that Billy was showing you.
This same crystal Billy had? Let's see what I picked
that?
up, right?
Where'd
You
Xander
pick it
go?
He stumbled over here. So as Devin and Billy are trying to look for you, you look upon the crystal, and inside you happen to see what seems to almost be like a lively fox dancing around inside. Now, Billy and Devin skid down the slope, and I'm going to change the map here to show where you guys are at now. Change to this. Boop. Boop. Give me 1 second here. Sorry, feature editor.
Whichever one of us does it.
All right, and let me return back to this layer. So these guys are outside. You guys are down inside the hole.
Okay.
So we're going to put you guys down somewhere in this bottom left corner.
Yeah, I figured we're not quite with him yet.
All right, so as you two, or Devin and Billy, are sliding in, they're calling for Xander, and Xander is just enamored by this new crystal he's finding. Xander! You here?
Xander! Xander,
Yeah.
this isn't funny anymore!
We got to get out of here for those things. Find us! We got to get back to the command center.
I'm over here. I think I found one of those crystals, Devin.
So
There's no way any of this is real. Why are you guys playing a prank on me?
Devin, this is the most serious we could ever be right now. I don't know what's going on, but we need to get Mr. Lanson, since he seems to be the only one who understands what in the crap is going on here.
Alright, I'll make my way to Xander.
So Billy finally reaches up and looks over Xander, and she goes, Devin, can you check him out? I don't know how to apply bandages. I need I'm scared. I don't know what's going on.
What's my difficulty?
Your difficulty, you're in a cave, so it's a little dark, so I'm gonna give you a 12.
I ask Billy to use a flashlight since we are out
Billy's
camping.
able to pull out a flashlight from the backpack that she happens to be carrying around and clicks it to look over, which will reduce your difficulty down to a 7.
Thank you. And I would have edge for this one because it's my medicine check, correct?
Correct. Edge and specialization.
Yeah. Whew, still. Whew.
All right.
I got
Just
a
enough.
12. 9 plus 3.
It's dark even with that flashlight, but you're able to check over Xander and see that the worst that he's going to have is just a skinned knee from sliding down.
Oh,
Yeah,
this
it's
is
gotten
nothing.
worse than this
He's
back in
fine.
childhood.
Yeah, he's fine.
I found this crystal.
And Devin's
It's a pretty
eyes
crystal.
go. Billy's eyes go big, and she goes, "Oh, more Rangers." Mr. Lanson said that's going to bring something here. Something, I don't know. I don't know Spanish well, but he kept saying that it was called Azul was going to come. She looked very confused as she said that, but she was like, but the only thing I know is we really need to try to get out of here and try to get back to the command center. Gonna need that.
I would say Xander's face is probably just absolutely flushed at hearing the name.
Oh, there's my power coin.
You guys.
Sorry, I'll screen roll because I don't want you guys seeing this one. So, as you guys are getting your thoughts together, what seems to almost be this picturesque portal of a door opens up, and it brightens up the entire cave. And out walks a man in armor that looked almost similar to what Billy looked like as she transformed. You see this man in a bright blue armor with white and gold accents to it. And out with a bright, almost diamond-like staff in his hand, he slams it down and it thunders throughout here. Azul is the only thing you need to worry about from here on. He points at all three of you, and you can just feel the force coming from him. Each world I find you, each place they come from, they will die by my hands. And he swipes through the air, and you can almost feel the brush of the air that came from his swing. All Rangers die by my hand alone. He snaps his fingers, and as he does so, you see more of those putty creatures of different varying colors of red, black, yellow, red, green, and white swarm out from behind him and start to surround him. We have to stop Rangers before they even start. One pest becomes another pest, becomes another. And he strides up to you guys. Billy turns around and looks at Devin. I know I can trust you. She slams her SPD in your hand. Go and get Mr. Lanston.
I can't leave you all.
Look,
I
he
assume I'm
told
going.
me about him. Maybe I can reason with him. Just go. She shoves you both off into the direction. She's like, just trust me, Mr. Lanston prepared me for this. She turns around. You see her walk up to Azul, and you hear Azul go, another Cranston. will fall tonight.
I am going to mess him up. Just so you're aware.
So you have a room filled with your BBEG and a bunch of putties. Are you going to listen to Billy?
Devin,
Here's
we're
the-
obviously outnumbered here. We
Here's-
gotta get out of here while we have the chance.
You go. I can't leave her behind. I can't. I can't do it.
We can come back for her. We're not doing her any favors right now.
We can't leave her. You felt... He lifted his staff and I thought I was going to go flying 20 yards away.
So what are we gonna do to help her now? We've seen this before. It doesn't end well. You gotta trust me on this one.
How do I use this? Is the crystal in here?
The crystal's inside the morpher.
How do I use this? You know what this is.
It's really easy.
As you guys are having your conversation, you see Billy approaching Azul, hands up. The putties seem to be doing their little side-by-side walk as if they're eyeballing her every single step. And she's going, "It's just me, Mr. Azul. I just want to talk." And you see Azul standing there, staff firm in hand, planted on the ground. And he seems unfazed by her approaching. And he goes, "I've come across a lot of Cranstons. And each one smart as the last one. Do you think I'm an idiot?" You hear him snarl almost. "After I kill you, I'm going to kill them too." He points in your direction. "And I'm going to snap those crystals in half because all rangers end here."
Xander, tell me how to use it!
Billy turns and goes, "Xander, grab her, run!"
Right. I assume I grab
Roll
Devin
me,
and just try to run.
roll me a mic check with edge.
I'm going to be resisting.
Oh, okay. With snag.
Well, is it snag or is it a contest? We have
It's going to be a
contest rolls.
contest of strength. Actually, both of you roll me a mic check here.
Yeah, you're going to
What's
win
the
this as long as you
difficulty?
don't fumble. It's against me. There's,
So,
leave the difficulty
no edge,
alone.
no snags. You're just rolling a regular mic check plus whatever you have added to it.
Yeah, you're just against me.
Right now, we got
Oh,
Xander with a
I
20.
lose. I do have an auto snag from this because I'm not strong. So, yeah.
Oh,
I knew I'd lose this one.
try as she might, she tries to resist your pull, but you're able to grab her from under the arms and run with her up back the hill. The putties don't even seem to chase after you. They just still seem to stand there as Billy approaches Lord Azul. You hear them talking. Then the next thing you hear is a shriek from what seems to be a young girl. And then it trickles out. And then silence as you're running away.
Devin is giving you everything she's got to get free. She is sobbing at this point.
But as you're running away, you hear an interesting noise coming from the weird device that Billy gave Devin. And it almost sounds like a voice is coming out of it.
She starts fumbling with it, still not really knowing how to work it.
You finally slap open.
I mean, she does know
pops-
technology, I guess, so...
But you are being frantic right now.
Yeah.
as you're slapping over it, a thing pops open and you hear a very familiar sounding voice. I had a reading. Can you hear me?
Devin's still frantic, but I guess the communicator's on.
The next thing you know, a random flash of light happens. That happens to be both blue and purple. And the next thing you know, you're inside of something that looks slightly different than a cave. A room filled with random technology that you have never seen before. Well, at least Devin hasn't. And standing in the middle, touching a bunch of buttons on the computer, is Mr. Lanston. And he looks up and he looks horrified and he goes, "Where's Wilma?"
Billy told us to leave her behind.
"What? With Azul?" You hear him raise his voice. He almost sounds angry with your response. Do you kids have any idea what that thing is? That's a ranger hunter. That's the worst nightmare of any ranger, he says as he slams his hand on the computer desk.
I could have helped her. I could have helped her, Xander. I could have helped her.
Lanston lets out a deep sigh and he goes, "If Azul's here, then it's almost no help for anyone." He looks up at you two and he goes, "I'm assuming Billy transformed, didn't she? And that's why he's here." He sees Xander nodding, Devin looking down at her own morpher in her hands, clenching it tightly. "Oh.
Why wouldn't you just show me how it worked?"
Lanston walks over to Xander, puts a hand on his shoulder, and he's like, "Most likely, he barely even understands himself." He looks down, and unbeknownst to Xander, pulls out the purple crystal he didn't realize was taken from his hands. And he goes, "Another Power Ranger. It was something I was hoping wouldn't come." He puts it back in Xander's hands, turns around, faces you both. "I'm just going to be blunt with you guys because you are tied up in so much right now that no one your age should ever be. I was once what's called a Power Ranger. I was Red Ranger #1 of Squad Beta of the SPD. Now, I know that means nothing to you two, but this was a specialized force that was meant for hunting down monsters and protecting the Earth, and we were darn good at what we did. Now, eventually, I quit. I retired. I did my time, my community service, and I passed down my Red Ranger morpher to Sky, and he passed his down to Bridges. But one day, Azul showed up. We're not sure where he came from, what he did, but we know the one thing he wanted was to kill anyone who had any knowledge of being a ranger or had the possibility of becoming one. It was weird. It was like he knew exactly who knew what ranger technology was. He knew exactly who to hunt down. And I saw him kill my best friend Elle right before my eyes. And the last thing she did was she handed me her morpher. And she also had Bridges. And she told me to get to another grid as soon as possible and protect any other new rangers and try to make sure that this didn't happen. So I ran to our command center, teleported myself to any grid without a ranger because I didn't want to see anyone else die by this blue son of a gun's hand. He slams his hand hard down on the table. And can you imagine my surprise when Wilma came to me and she was spouting off about how she was in a blue costume with a hard blue helmet, was able to run fast, do aerobatics. I thought that this grid would be safe from him. And I should have trained her. He leans over on the counter. I should have taught her how to be a ranger. But instead, the only thing I taught her was how to run because I didn't want to make sure that blue son of a... He clenches up. That Azul wouldn't come here. He turns to you two and he goes, I was too late with Wilma because I'm not reading any of her grid energy on the map. And he points at you two and he goes, I'm not going to lose any more Rangers. Not on my watch. He runs over to another counter and he picks up another morpher. And this time you see him pick up something else and he scratches off the SPD off of it. And he goes, we may not be the SPD. And he takes out that purple crystal from Xander's hands, opens up the morpher, slams it in, closes the device, and he's like, but darn it, we are the best things that this planet's going to have from Azul. And he places it back into Xander's hands. And he looks you both in the eyes and he goes, it's morphin' time, you two. And this is where we are ending session number 1 on that cliffhanger. Please let us know how you like this episode. Let us know on Twitter. Let us know on our Discord, which we have available. We will have it in our description down below. You can also find it on our Twitter. But I am going to let the other boys take control here for our outro because I feel like I've been talking a little bit too much. So I'm going to hand it off to our players here.
You want me to wrap us out?
Go for
Feel
it.
free.
All right, guys. This has been Joysticks United, bringing you the Power Rangers TTRPG. Jesus-y. Jesus.
What a story.
Oh my God, I can't wait to
Got
play
chills.
this again. Oh, I'm so excited. And see, I'm hearing it without the music and all the other editing and stuff. I can't wait to watch this myself. Guys, we really don't have a lot of descriptions for our characters on purpose. If you guys have any artistic talent and you want to help us flesh out what these characters look like, please send us character art. Please. We want you all to be involved with this like we are. If you couldn't tell, I got a little invested there towards the back end of that. But, yeah, let us know what you're thinking. Like you said, share this around. You know, this is something that is a passion project for the three of us. Definitely let us know. But in the meantime, remember to take care of yourself, take care of your friends, and be better. We will see you guys on the next one. Thanks for listening.